If you're looking for a simple and easy way to analyze the crazy US30 market, well, you're in the right place, mainly because in this video, I'm going to show you my step-by-step analysis, how I break down the charts, what my entries, my profit targets, my exits look like, and then any other thing that's going to help me analyze the market. You're going to get that here in this video. So make sure you stay until the end because it's definitely going to simplify your trading. So let's jump into a US30. And as usual, I like to start on the weekly time frame. From this past week, if we look at how the candle closed, it's pretty much a weak bullish candle. We can see that it's very low momentum. It was bearish at some point, but then closed bullish. So we just don't know how price is going to act next week. Now, one thing that did help this market this past week was having a couple of bullish catalysts inside of the market, mostly around the economy in US, and then the jobs report that came out today. This is actually Friday, so it was NFP. But basically, all good things that really helped to push up the US30 market this past week. So the first thing I want to do to come up with a game plan for next week is I do want to mark off this highest high inside of the market, just because there is a possibility for price to come back up to this level. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off this level 40,192. So basically, price would have to do some crazy stuff in order to come all the way back down here. And if we look at the past, we do see candles, but they're not quite this big. So I don't anticipate price coming all the way down here like 2,000 points. That would be insane. But we do see in the past, this candle was 842. This candle right here was 960. And 929. So basically, if we're looking at this, we're like, okay, if price does fall, it could probably fall maybe 1,000 points. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could do that. So I'm going to just mark off that level, and then we're going to go to the daily time frame, and then we're going to look for other levels that we could possibly mark off inside of this market. So off the bat, one of the things that I am seeing right here at 41,800 and roughly 70, I do see a nice support right here. And then I also do see a resistance right here at 41,545. And as you can see, I really like this level, mainly because we have a resistance and some rejections right here. But then at the same time, we also have a support on this side. So I really like to see it when price is balanced like this. So that makes me feel a lot more confident in my level placement. So another thing I do see is about right here at 40,000, let's just say 40,700. Let's just say 700 flat, because when we go down to lower time frames, we will definitely refine these levels. So I see this support here. I do see somewhat of a break down and then break up, and then I do see a support right here. So this looks good as far as the daily time frame. Going to the H4 time frame, we can see now that we have a lot more data inside of this market. And for this level right here where the all-time high was made, one thing I want to do is make this level a little slimmer and then move it down so that way my box is touching the top of the wick of this candle. So looks good there now. And then right here at 41,000, now we have 860 roughly. This is still looking good to me. I do believe that we're going to refine more on lower time frames, so don't worry. And then another level that I'm looking at right now is 41,000, roughly 575. I did move this up a little bit because we do have this resistance rejection here. Then we also have some supports, some rejections here, and then some consolidation inside of here. So we're going to adjust that a little bit on a lower time frame, mainly because one of the things I see here is a gap. It looks like a gap in the data. So this closed here, and then this candle did not open at that same level. It gapped up, meaning that there were a lot of orders that came inside of the market when this candle was open, and price just jumped up. So as you can see, it took off from that point, but we're going to refine it on a lower time frame. So looking at the other levels here on H4, let me just zoom in. Okay, great. So that's the gap area. And then this, I do want to adjust this down. So that way we have a support here at 40,600 and it looks like 40,700 flat almost. So let's just roll with that. And then we do see a rejection, like a breakdown, break up right there, like a fake out. And then we do see some resistances right there. So, and then this is still looking good. Great. So let's go to H2 and move this in a little bit because it's going to look a little weird on lower time frames because now we got more candles, now we have more data. So I like the way that the top is still looking, and then this right here, we have support and rejections. We have a bunch of rejections, looks great. Right here, we do have this nice resistance, but then we have this interesting zone right here. I think I want to mark off this level right here, and this is at 40... roughly 41,475, let's just say, mainly because I do like this level quite a bit the way it is, considering we have this information over here, but we also need to prioritize more recent information. So I want to see how this looks on H1 and just see if I maybe need to adjust the bigger level. But for right now, looks good. And then right here, let me zoom out because this is tough to see. Okay, so right now we have price sitting here. We do have a lot of consolidation throughout here, but let me see how this looks if I move it down a bit more. That actually looks cleaner right there at 40,565. I actually like that a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner to me. Mainly because we have this area right here, but we also have support here, rejections here, and then this is a big rejection there, and then this was a fake out, and then price came down, came all the way up, and then it pretty much tapped into this level perfectly. I am going to make this zone a little bit, not that slim, but a little bit slimmer, and then I'm going to move it up to, what is this, 40,218, maybe 40,220. That would be nice right there because you can see the numbers on the side. Okay, cool. So now let's go to H1. Okay, so this zone right here is looking good. However, it is a little big. So I like to create these zones so that way I can have areas to trade from. And I do want to create another area in this zone right here at 42,345. Let's just say 42,350. Nice round number. And the thing that I like about this level is the rejection, and then rejections here. And then it also formed a little bit of a resistance. So I really like that. And basically what I could potentially see price doing is price coming down, but we're going to do that in a second. We're going to finish up with this time frame, clean up our levels, and then we're going to talk about the game plan for this upcoming week. So for right now, I do like this level here, and then if we zoom in a little bit and just analyze our other levels that we drew. So this is looking good. Let me see what'll happen if I made it a little bit slimmer and then moved this level closer to the bodies. Okay, this is kind of the average. So now we're at 41,870. So I actually like it because we have support and rejections, support and rejections. And then we do have some supports up here, but it is a little far from the zone, but we still have rejections or candles tapping into that zone. So I like this level a lot more now. So this level right here, this one's a little tricky. And it was mainly because of that gap. Let me zoom in. And then off to the left, we do have these areas right here. But let me see what price would look like if I moved it down. Okay, like not too bad. But let's say I got rid of this small area that I drew. And I just brought this all the way down. Okay, I actually like this better. And I'm going to tell you why in a second when I zoom this in. But basically, in the zone, the thing that I like about it is over here, if we look at more recent price action, we do have a bunch of rejections all throughout this zone. So this lets me know that price was trying to go down further from this point and didn't want to. And this is roughly 41,475-ish zone. But basically, this is really interesting to me. And then if we look to the left, I did like the fact earlier that price did line up here. I mean, we could still mark it off, but it wouldn't be a major zone to me. You can see that this line is going through some of these other things, but this is just really ugly price action. So I don't even want to emphasize that on my chart. You can do it on yours, but I don't want it on mine because I want it to be really clean. But one of the things that I do like over here is that we have found support in the same zone, rejection in the zone. Even though price here broke up and then broke back down, and then here it came down and it sold off tremendously. If we look at more recent price action, this was actually a bounce up zone. So I really like that. So another thing that I wanted to look at was the other levels that I drew. I did make some adjustments throughout here. Support, rejections. That is looking good. It is a little bit of a complicated area, I will say, but I like the way this is looking. And then over here, let me see. Yeah, okay, that still looks good. So I was looking over here. I mean, this is still sitting nicely on top of that zone. And I like the way that recent price action looks. And then if we go down here, this was a level that I drew on a higher time frame. And I'm wondering how it will look if I just put this right here. So this is at 40,000, roughly 100. Because you can see that it's 0.99, so basically 100, or we can actually move it down a little bit so that way it's touching this wick right here. Either is fine, so now it's at 40,000, let's just say 55. And I moved it from here because this is an interesting area, but this happened more recently. So I want to always, like, I'll look left, but I want to always prioritize the thing that has happened most recently. So in this situation, this happened more recent than this over here. So this is looking good to me. Okay, great. So now that we got all of our zones marked off, let's talk about the game plan for this upcoming week. You can see right now what price has done. Price has rejected this level right here. What I see potentially happening this upcoming week is for price to pull back and to potentially come up. So I'm just going to draw that out here on the chart. So I do see price potentially going like this, hitting this level and then coming up. So that's one trade idea that I do have. And then I do see on this particular market, price possibly pulling back, breaking this level, but then coming to this level here and then coming up. Like that's one thing that I see, or another thing that I see. And then I do see price, if it comes up here, possibly retesting the previous all-time high. It could reject or it could break. But I do see it at least coming to this level if we do get a bullish enough catalyst inside of the market. Now this is going to be based on what I think Jerome Powell says this upcoming week, but we shall see. But this is a trade idea that I have for a price to be above here. So this will be buys, and then that's 269 points inside of the market. Definitely a decent zone. And then from here, this is 463 points inside of the market. And then from here, this is 387 points inside of the market. So basically, definitely looking for buys at these levels. Let me move these arrows right there. Looking for buys in this zone. Now, of course, price could potentially go down inside of this market. I mean, it has potential to go down really at any time. But let's just say for some reason price broke this level and broke this level. What I would be looking for is a potential short. So it would be roughly right here, from here to here, and that's 900 points roughly. That would be a really hard fall. And then, like I said, price can come down here. But let's just say if there was some sort of bearish catalyst and price continued and it didn't bounce like this idea right here, and it continued to move down. And then, of course, for me, I would look left and kind of see what my obstacles would be. So potentially right here, that could be an obstacle right there. So instead of trying to basically swing for the fences and get all of this down here, I would probably stop about there, unless there was some sort of really strong bearish news happening inside of the market. So this market, I mean, this could potentially do anything, but you can see this from this point here to all the way up here, this was weeks of price action. So pretty much I do see price staying in this area, or if it breaks and make new all-time highs, coming up to maybe 43,000 flat, because that's a nice round psychological number, and basically it's not that far away. So this is my game plan for the upcoming week. If you found this helpful, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you next week.